Welcome to the weekly sports update. I'm Nate Van alongside Alex Zoida. We're going to talk everything sports. We're everyday guys talking everyday sports. Today we're going to talk about some baseball, college football, and the NFL. We're going to start off with some baseball right now. So far, the division winners have been the Red Sox, the A's, the Braves, and the Dodgers. Who takes the AL and NL Central?
AL Central, I think Detroit's going to lock it up within the next couple of games. And then the NL, as much as I would like to see Pittsburgh win the division, I think that they played better than everybody expected this year. First time in a long time since they've been over 500. But I think St. Louis is going to lock it up, and then I think Cincy and Pittsburgh are going to have a head-to-head for the wild card berth.
I'd have to agree with you on that one. I could definitely see Detroit taking it. They're even there. I could see them making a deep playoff push as well. In the NL Central, I definitely want to see Pittsburgh do something. They have been a stellar team for the past 24 years or something like that, ever since Barry Bonds left the team. But I also see that the Cardinals already clinched the playoff berth, and I see them taking their division as well. So who takes the wild card then? Because I just said Pittsburgh. Even though Pittsburgh's not going to take their division, I could see them winning the wild card.
I like them beating Cincy in the one game and then in the AL. You got a bunch of teams fighting for a berth. You got Tampa Bay is up 4 games on the Yankees. Tampa Bay won tonight 5-4, but they start a 3-game set Tuesday through Thursday. So if the Yankees sweep, then it'll make this upcoming weekend very interesting. I think Cleveland's in the wild card game. As much as I'd want to say the Yankees are going to make it, I believe that it's going to be Tampa Bay Cleveland. I believe Cleveland's going to be Tampa Bay.
Yeah. Well, for the NL wild card, I agree with you. I could see the Pirates taking one spot, and then the Reds also taking the other spot. And then I could see the Pirates winning that game too. And then the American League, I know your Yankees. It's very unlikely that they could get it.
Possible.
4 games back. The only team that I see squeezing in there that is not like in the lead right now are the Texas Rangers, who are a game and a half back. But right now, I could see Tampa Bay probably would win their in-game and then face the division winner.
Watch out for Kansas City, guys.
Kansas City's 3.5 games back. I can't see it happening. I really can't. All right. This takes us to our next point. World Series prediction right now as you see it. Who takes it and what's the matchup?
I would like to see, first of all, in the NLCS, I would like to see the Dodgers-Braves because, I'm from LA, so I would want to see what the Dodgers can do and see if they can actually advance and progress their franchise that they have now to what it should be. But at the same time, I haven't seen a lot of the Braves, but I know that they've been one of the hottest teams in MLB since I think after the All-Star break. So I'd like to see them. But in that series, I would think that Atlanta is going to barely beat them at the slimmest of margins. And then in the AL, I'm going to say I think that I would like to see the ALCS be Cleveland versus Oakland, and I would like the World Series to be Atlanta versus Oakland. Is that going to happen? Probably not, but that's just who I would pick right now, and I would pick Atlanta in 6 or 7.
Yeah, right now I see. I could see the ALCS would probably be Detroit and Boston, the 2 best teams in the American League by far, in my opinion. The National League probably be the Dodgers and Braves, like Alec predicted. Except things take a twist here. I see the Dodgers beating the Braves and the Red Sox beating the Tigers. Dodgers Red Sox in the World Series. Dodgers take it in 6. LA is happy again. So is Magic Johnson. All right. Now we move on to college football. This past weekend was ABC and ESPN said they got the worst ratings of all, probably in the last couple of years. It was not a very good week in college football. Although some upsets were really close to happening, you definitely saw Michigan be exposed again. I think that they've been exposed. What do you say?
I would say that coming into the year, I think that they were very good. The last couple of years, they had a lot of not controversy, but a lot of questions at the quarterback position. With Denard Robinson and now Gardner, and I think Akron and UConn both exposed their lack of ability to put away subpar teams compared to what Michigan's level of playing should be.
Definitely. They beat Akron 28-24 and then beat UConn 24-21. Two very low, two very not very good teams. Michigan is expected to basically romp these teams. I just did not see any improvements made after the Akron game. I thought maybe it was just like a one-game thing. Doesn't look like it, and I really think Devin Gardner is one of the most overrated quarterbacks in college football. Very similar to Denard Robinson and the hype that was created when he was the starting quarterback at Michigan. All right, so Alabama the last couple years has been the powerhouse in college football. 3 out of the last 4 national titles. But Ole Miss is a young team stepping onto the scene just about this year. Had one of the best recruiting classes in the country this past summer. Do you see Ole Miss doing anything to stop Bama in this weekend's matchup?
I think it's going to be a lot closer than people think. Nobody has really seen Ole Miss too much this year, but as you said, they had one of the top recruiting classes. I think they were in the top 5. I think they got the best defensive end in the country, and I think that if their defense can keep Bama off the field a couple drives, and if and their offense can put up maybe 21 to 28 points, it could be a very close going in the fourth quarter. But I have Alabama winning by 14, maybe 21, depending.
Yeah, I could see Alabama taking it by at least 2 or 3 scores. Their offense really does not get enough credit. Everyone talks about their defense. It's obviously the best in the country. But I think A.J. McCarron, he could get overrated at times, but I think he's a very solid quarterback. T.J. Yeldon's one of the best running backs in the country, and he has one of the best O-lines in the country to complement himself. I could see Alabama taking it by 3 scores and probably winning the rest of their games too. There's a couple of other ranked matchups. This weekend. We got number 4 Ohio State playing number 23 Wisconsin. See an upset there?
I want to say, I don't think Ohio State's is not the number 4 team in the land. I think last year they went under the radar because of all the sanctions that they had, and they were ineligible. So I don't think anybody had pressure on them. I would like to, and if Braxton Miller's not 100%, given their backup quarterback's a very good quarterback, I think Wisconsin steals this one by 3, maybe 7 points.
Yeah, you got to say that Wisconsin's definitely playing with a chip on their shoulder now after that loss to Arizona State. Controversial to say the least. A really bad call there. Really, I think it kind of crushed the hearts of a lot of Wisconsin players to see that their perfect season crumble like that because their strength of schedule is honestly not too bad. Other than Arizona State and Ohio State, I don't believe they're playing Michigan. Even if they are, I probably would have picked Wisconsin to take that one too. But even though Wisconsin is playing with a chip on their shoulder, they're playing a very good Ohio State team, very well-coached team with Urban Meyer. It all depends on Braxton Miller's health, but I could still see Ohio State taking this by... It'd be a close game. I could see Ohio State winning by like a touchdown. Then you also got number 6 LSU playing number 9 Georgia. Gonna be a close game. Who do you see taking that one?
I'm picking LSU by 7, maybe 10 points. I think their defense is better than Georgia. I think their defense is going to shut down Georgia's offense, and I think LSU's run game is going to, and their offense line is going to control the tempo of the game. And I think it's going to be a brutal game. It's going to be an SEC slugfest like it usually is, but I don't expect many points being scored. But I think LSU wins 17-10, maybe 20-13.
Yeah, it's going to be one of those usual SEC games, like you said, very defensive. Although Georgia has one of the best offenses in the country, in my opinion, with Todd Gurley and Aaron Murray. But I could see LSU taking this one. I believe they're playing at home. One of the best defenses in the country. They're going to take it by like 6, maybe, I'll say. Then, number 14, Oklahoma, is playing in South Bend against Notre Dame. Notre Dame has been a little shaky to start off the year. They lost to Michigan, barely beat Michigan State. Who do you see taking this one?
I see the only way Notre Dame is going to win is if Tommy Rees does not turn the ball over. Tommy Rees, he's a good quarterback, but he makes a lot of bad decisions. And the only way that they're going to have but the only way that they're going to win the game is if he eliminates his turnovers and eliminates his bad decisions and plays smart and keeps the ball. That's the only way that I see Notre Dame winning because I think Oklahoma could come in and light up Notre Dame's defense.
Yeah, it's definitely about ball control here with Notre Dame. Kind of control the pace, play at your tempo. Don't feel the need to rush or anything. Notre Dame has had a tradition, and they're keeping that up this year of being a very conservative team, not really implementing any new style to their offense or defense. Staying, very conservative, very orthodox. And Notre Dame at home, I could see them upsetting Oklahoma here. Even though Notre Dame is ranked, I still see this one as an upset since I don't believe Notre Dame has as good as a team as people think they do. But playing at home, playing a little motivated, they've not been very good the past couple of weeks. I think they're going to turn it around and beat Oklahoma here. Now, I would say national championship prediction, but we both know we're probably going to say Alabama on one side and probably Oregon on the other.
Nope. I'm calling it Alabama-Clemson.
Or Clemson.
Clemson Tigers versus the Alabama Crimson Tide.
Could be Clemson too, actually, to tell you the truth, playing in the ACC. Very bad conference. Syracuse will probably beat them.
If Clemson stays undefeated, and Oregon's gonna have to play.
That's true.
I think they're playing Stanford this year. They have to play UCLA.
Probably gonna play UCLA twice.
They probably have to play UCLA twice. So if UCLA gets one of those games, and if UCLA beats them twice and stays undefeated, then UCLA could jump up. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but if they beat Oregon twice, then they're going to have a very good argument to get into that national championship. But will I think it's going to happen? No, I think Clemson goes undefeated. Oregon loses one of those games, and then they go to the Rose Bowl, but I think it's Alabama-Clemson in the national championship, which would be a fun game to watch with the best defense versus arguably one of the best offenses in the nation. So I think it would be very entertaining to see how that plays out.
Most likely, I think so. Most entertaining, probably still have to be Alabama. Oregon probably has the best offense in the country, playing against the best defense. The best defense for the last 6 years in the country, in Alabama. Now for your Heisman prediction, who do you have?
I'm gonna say Taj Boyd. I think he has the most talent but I would think it's gonna come down between him and Terry Bridgewater of Louisville. I think Taj Boyd has more upside to his game, and I think that it's going to be narrow. I would say him, Bridgewater, and McCarron are going to be invited to the ceremony, but I think Taj Boyd will walk out with the Heisman this year and go on to be a high draft pick.
You really never know in college football. If you remember, Robert Griffin III came up out of nowhere and stole the Heisman from Trent Richardson, I believe it was. Right now, I still think you have to look at strength of schedule a little bit with Taj Boyd. Definitely has not as difficult as a schedule as some SEC players, but then again, the SEC is really a defensive conference. Not many playmakers. There are playmakers on the offensive side of the ball, but it's primarily a defensive conference. I do see Taj Boyd as a finalist. People are not going to like me for saying this. Johnny Manziel is going to be a finalist, in my opinion, just because I think he's going to lead A&M to a couple impressive victories over some tough SEC teams. And my third finalist would have to be probably Teddy Bridgewater as well, because of his numbers. His numbers are going to be very good this year, I believe. So it's going to come down, I think, to Bridgewater, Manziel, and Boyd. All right, let's transition now to the pros. Couple teams with very disappointing starts. 3-0-3 teams that are projected, maybe not to make the playoffs, but three very good teams are 0-3. The Redskins, Giants, and Steelers. Which one of these teams is in the most trouble?
I would say Pittsburgh is, I think, with the Todd Haley and Ben Roethlisberger not working well together. And they're just getting older, and they have a lot of injuries, and Ben Roethlisberger's not even 100%. And then their high draft pick, Le'Veon Bell, hasn't played this year. I'm anxious to see how he performs with that offense. And they lost their best receiver, Mike Wallace, this offseason to the Dolphins. So I would say that out of those three teams, I would say the Steelers are in the most trouble.
Yeah, for me, I could say the Giants. I'm kind of contradicting myself because the Giants, in my opinion, are in the most trouble, but they are also, in my opinion, the team most likely to make the playoffs out of these three. But the Giants' defense and offense, both of them just look horrific. Their front four is really not what it used to be. Eli Manning is not what it used to be. But I think given that their division is not the strongest this year, The Cowboys, they started pretty fast, but I really don't see it holding up. The Eagles' offense is impressive. There's still a lot of holes in that team, a lot of flaws that are
Especially on
exposed.
defense.
Yes, their defense has been exposed the past couple of weeks. So I could see the Giants probably making the playoffs. They have the most likely chance out of the Skins and the Steelers.
Yes.
Who is it? The Giants for you too?
Yes, but I don't. I would say that division's the weakest. Out of, I mean, the Redskins are in it, but I would say the AFC North, it's going to be either the Bengals or it's going to be the Ravens. I don't think the Redskins, RG3 is still not 100% in my opinion. He doesn't look sharp as he did last year. Coming off ACL injury, he doesn't look like he has that factor that he had last year. And I think Eli Manning can turn it around and their defense can turn it around, and they just need maybe go 4-2, maybe 5-2 over these next 7 games, and they're right back in the mix of things because Dallas is 2-1, the Eagles are 1-2, and I mean the Giants. It seems like every year or not every year, but the Giants have had some slow starts in recent years, so they could turn around and go to the playoffs.
Then you got the 1-2 teams, and although they are 1-2, although they won a game, they just do not look impressive. And I'm talking about the Packers, the Niners, and the Falcons. So, which of these 3 teams do you see in the most trouble, and which of these 3 teams has the best shot at making the playoffs?
The most trouble, I would say the Niners don't have a good shot of winning the division. I think a lot of teams are figuring out how to stop Kaepernick now. And yes, he had a great week 1 against the Packers, but I don't think he's as dynamic as he was last year because now people know. And I think that was exposed in the Seattle game first, and then I think Indy made it full because he threw for 186 and an interception. And I would think that the Falcons, with how poor the defenses are in their division, that it could be very easy for them to win a few games and go and win that division, or at least go for a wild card berth, because New Orleans is good, but I think that the Falcons can challenge them if they win the 2 games against them that they have, or the one other game that they have against them this year.
Yeah, for teams in the most trouble, for me it would have to be Green Bay, just because Aaron Rodgers is not really. He had a good week too, but he does not look the same anymore, to tell you the truth. And I think their defense has been exposed mightily. Because I think the San Francisco 49ers have such a good defense that even when Kaepernick is struggling, the defense is able to keep the game close. And the 49ers offense will eventually be able to pull out a win in those games. I think the Falcons also are a very, very good football team and would probably make the playoffs. So teams in the most trouble will probably be the Packers, and my team to make the playoffs out of these 3 would be the Falcons, just because I think they're the best team in their division, even though they started off 1-2. So now I want to ask, are two of these guys or team, like one team, one guy, are they for real? Are the Kansas City Chiefs for real? And is Geno Smith for real? Can he lead your Jets to a division or a wild card win this season?
The Chiefs, last year I thought that they were going to be a lot better than they were. I know that they had 5 Pro Bowlers, I believe, on defense, so I know that their defense was solid. And the only problem they had was their coaching and their quarterback. And I think with Andy Reid and Alex Smith coming into the mix, they complement each other. And now I think Jamal Charles has a quarterback that can take some of the pressure off him, so he's not trying it, or so he doesn't have to do everything. And I think that they have a lot of good offensive pieces, and I think that they can still expand their offense more and get players like Dwayne Bell involved and get him more yards and more opportunities. But at the same time, they have dynamic players like Jamal Charles and Dexter McCluster. And I think that this year that they are for real, and I could see them giving Denver a run for their money in the AFC West.
Yeah, for me, Denver is probably the best team in the AFC, but the Chiefs, they won't win their division, but I could see the Chiefs winning the wild card. It's crazy to think that this whole time all this team needed was just one small change on offense, and that was just a slight upgrade at the quarterback position. Alex Smith isn't the greatest quarterback, but I think he's a good upgrade from Matt Castle. The fans seem to like it too since they're not booing their quarterback now. Yeah, so the Chiefs definitely, I think, are for real. Their defense looks very good. Their offense looks very balanced now. I think if you look at it, Jamal Charles has only been getting like 16 carries a game, but they throw to him around 5 or 6 times. So the touches are there for everyone. Touches are there for Jamal Charles, for Dwayne Bowe, for Alex Smith, and this defense, of course, as you said, have been pretty good for the past couple of years. So they definitely are for real. And as for Geno Smith, the Jets are 2-1. Yeah, something to cheer about. Geno, I think, is an upgrade, definite upgrade from Mark Sanchez. I would have liked to see Greg McElroy stay on the roster, but I still think Geno Smith should be the starter for the New York Jets. He's making some mistakes, but you learn from those. He's just a rookie. As for how the team goes, I think the defense has been okay for the past couple of years, but I could see probably like a 6-10, 7-9 finish for this team. Although they have struck lucky with a pretty soft division this year, I don't see the team winning enough games to make the playoffs.
Now, I looked at their schedule, and they have 13 games left, and of those, there are probably 4 or 5 sure losses. So that leaves 8 other games where they could pull those. And I think if Geno Smith just sticks to what's expected of him, tries to eliminate the mistakes. There were times yesterday on Sunday against the Bills where he showed a lot of poise, a lot of promise, and I was like, okay, this was the right decision drafting him in the second round. Like his touchdown pass to Santonio Holmes. Stayed in the pocket, stepped up, took a hit, and threw a strike to Santonio Holmes for a touchdown. But then there were times like his interception to the linebacker where he just has his eyes locked on a receiver and doesn't know how to look off another defender. And he'll learn, and I think that maybe, if not this year, he'll just get more chemistry with his receiving core, and I think maybe in a year or two, after Tom Brady's kind of falling down, because I think he still has another couple years left in his prime, or not his prime, but dominating the AFC East. So maybe 2-3 years, they give it they have a real legitimate shot of winning the division. But this year, you never know with how weak that division is. So anything is possible.
So right now, I still think it's a little too early to make predictions, but right now I could definitely see a Super Bowl between the Seattle Seahawks and the Denver Broncos. Can you agree with that?
I could see it. I think it's going to come down to the running game because it is in the Meadowlands, and it's going to be in early February, and it's going to be cold. So I think it's going to come down to the running game, and that's why I would pick Seattle over Denver by 3, maybe 24-21. I think Peyton Manning still has a great game, but I think Pete Carroll's going to be back on top, and Russell Wilson's going to be looked at as one of the better quarterbacks in the league. I would say top 10, maybe top 5.
Yeah, those two teams definitely look like the front runners to win the Super Bowl this year. So, thank you for watching the Weekly Sports Update. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel. I am Nate Van. This is Alex Zoida. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram. Thank you for watching.